All right. Before we start, I'd like to say that if you're interested in this project and you want to see it through, catch on updates, or give me suggestions or report bugs, I highly recommend you guys join the Discord community link down below. Let's get to it. Now, I've done quite a bit of work and I'm still working on some updates, but I think I have a polished enough version of some big updates you guys should be able to enjoy while I work on the rest. So there's three main additions to this version, and I'm going to start from the smallest to the largest. So the smallest one is I've added a new chart, and it is designed to be in thirds of a beat instead of fourths like the first two. There's this first one, dun, 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 very basic, and then there's jump up, which is also in fourths, and then I've added this guy to be in thirds. And that's just there for patterns that are threes, So if you have a rhythm game song that you want to practice and it's in thirds, it will fit right in here. The second biggest update is that I've added beat and note sound effects that are independent of the song itself. And it sounds like this. And I can turn the song volume all the way down and still have these, and I can play with just these without the song in the background if I want. I can also control their volume separately and turn them on and off, and they have their own latency counter, and it's right here, and that's because they're independent of the song. They should be like a one-time setup, and it would depend on your input latency and other things. So there's that. Now the biggest update is the chart maker. So I'm shipping this version with just 3 patterns, one for each song, and then I'm encouraging you guys to make your own patterns to experiment with and get better with. So if you're rhythmically incapable on a song and it's because this one pattern that you know how it works, you just can't quite grasp it, you're not fully in control, that's the perfect tool for you to use. So let's open it and see what's it about. Let me just clear it real quick. This is what it looks like. You can zoom in and out with your scroll wheel. You can pan around with the middle mouse click by holding it. And then you have a few features here. So that's the top line has numbering that signify the beat count. And that's just the beat of the pattern or the beat of the song, and you can always see it at the top here. Even if you go down, you can see them at the top. And then these horizontal lines represent lanes, input lanes specifically, and those correspond to, it depends on the game. So if you're playing this basic mode, anything that you press corresponds to an input, it doesn't matter. But if you're in Stepmania, you have X for one, C for, in my configuration, for each lane, different buttons. And then that's where the different lanes comes in the chart maker. So if I put a note here, a note here, a note here, and a note here, it's going to reflect in the actual game in like this diagonal pattern. Something you should know. I'm gonna stay on the top lane here, but just know that's an option. And I think, hopefully it doesn't break if you try and put more lanes than there is in the mode available, but it's up to you. Watch out for that. All right, so there's that. There's the lanes, there's the beats, and then there's a chart name input field with load, save, and clear chart buttons. And those I'll get to in a second. You also have a division slider, and that thing, so that thing corresponds to this like cursor thing with these extra lines around it. So there's this bright line and then other lines around it, and these represent the snapping of notes, and those snapping values are based on the division. So say I want to work in fourths of a beat. So say I'm making a pattern that's like taka 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 or something like that, and that's fourth, ta 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 taka 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 taka, right? So I keep the slider here at 1/4, and then when I place notes down, notice how these lines divide the beat into 4 very nicely. If I changed it and I want to work in 3s, ta 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 ta, you know, it goes ta ta ta, then that's different, and that's what this allows you to do. You can go all the way to 30 seconds of a beat and all the way down to 1, so you can just work in whole beats if you really want that. And in order to actually put this to use, you have to place in notes. So left click will spawn in a note, and you can drag around and it will snap to the division and the lane you're over. So if I go here and I place note at the start of the beat, then when I play the song, it will have one note at the start, and I can just keep going like this and place any notes that I want. Now say I place too many, or say I want this note to actually be in here, I can actually grab it and drag it around. I can drag notes around like this. If I want to get rid of a note, I can just right click them, right click to delete the note. And then if I placed a bunch and I kind of regret my decision here, I can clear the chart and everything goes back to 0 or cleared out. Now, here's a huge distinction to make, right? If I'm working in thirds, then I can place those 3 notes. But if I'm working in fourths, then I can place notes in between them. Now, let's clear out all the fourths values except for this one, and then keep those 3/3. Now if I press on this note, notice that the bright line snapped to this note now. And if I change to thirds, I am actually working off of this note in thirds. And notice they are not the same alignment as these original third notes. So that's what really allows you to recreate every rhythmic pattern that you might want. So say a song is fourths and then it switches to thirds at the middle of the beat. That's how you would do it. You'd snap to the note that you want to work in thirds off of. And you can also click on an actual, like on a whole beat, and it will snap to it as well at any point. So there's that. That summarizes the entirety of the chart maker. Of course, if you try and place notes over each other, ideally it wouldn't overlap them, but pay attention. If notes are not getting destroyed correctly, it's probably because either an overlap or a misalignment of notes, a note on a wrong lane. Back to these top options here. There's the clear chart. You've already seen that in action. There's also the chart name input field. The chart name input field corresponds to the name of the chart. So I already have a bunch of custom charts here. I'm going to work with this new chart, right? So I want to load in the new chart that I already made. It has some patterns. I want to load it. I just set the name to match new chart, like one to one. You cannot make spelling errors, and then if you load it and there are no spelling errors, it will give you a dialog asking you if you want to load this chart. And if I do, then I have this chart loaded. Now it is in quarters, so now it all aligns. And I now have a few more options. So I can either save the chart as is, right? And if I save it now, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to delete the scores. But I can also like modify the chart and then do save, and it will ask me, hey, override existing. This will also clear your scores. Yes. And now this chart is still there, but it now has the new pattern. Reflected right away. What I can also do is, for example, I load this chart, I can save it to a new chart by naming it something that I don't already have. And then if I save it, it's going to ask me to create a new chart. No, I didn't actually modify it to be unique, but I now did. I can save and create a new one. This chart one will now appear at the bottom here, and I can play it and it will be a different chart. Like that. So that's how easy it is to just kind of work around with charts and play with them, load and save them around. If you're naming a chart something that's not existing and you try and load, nothing will pop up. And I feel like that summarizes all of it basically. Oh my god, finally a successful fucking recording of this of this demo. Jesus Christ. Okay, last thing I want to say again, join the Discord. I'm uploading there all my updates, and I'm letting people, like, I would let anyone who's interested playtest and give feedback earlier than other people's, like, regular access. So I highly recommend you join. And yeah, hopefully you guys are going to put to use these new tools. See ya.